everybody, it's Doug Shoemaker back with the Shoemaker Loan Team at USA Mortgage, and I've got Sam here with me again. And so, like usual, we're sitting around and talking.
And I have questions.
She's got questions.
So, it's, likely I will maybe not live in this area when it comes time for me to buy a home. If I did, obviously I would choose Shoemaker Loan Team. But if I've moved away at that time, I'm just curious, like, all these banks and all these lenders can get me a loan. They can get me into a home. But what are like 5 things I could use to choose one? Because they all offer a loan, but there's got to be something like, how do I decide which one's right for me? Like, can you give me like 5 things to look at?
I will try.
Okay.
So probably the most important thing, at least whenever we're updating applications and talking to people about their goals, is that, like, what are your goals? So you'll want to figure out at that time, like, what's most important to you. And the reason I think that's important is because there are a whole lot of 1-800-CHEAP-LOAN-NO-SERVICE.coms. I know you guys hear me say that term a lot, but it's true. And especially as a first-time home buyer, like, you're going to have 1,000 questions. You're going to need somebody to be there for you that's extremely patient. There's a lot of things that go along with that. So, number one, I would think about availability. And I don't mean like, will some automated system email you 24/7?
Yeah.
But is there somebody that you can talk to, that you can call, including nights and weekends, that will actually return your call when it's important?
Yeah.
Now look, we all have families, so nobody wants to be, answering calls at 9 o'clock at night on a Sunday if it's something that you could talk about on Monday, but
Yeah.
you need to work with somebody who's going to commit to you that they will be there for you, that when your appraisal comes back and there's a problem, will they answer your phone call at 8:30 at night on a Friday, that kind of thing. So availability is huge. Are they reputable? And I don't mean to beat up a lot of the internet lenders. They've got a bunch of great technology out there, but you always want to listen to your real estate agent. Real estate agents, especially ones that have been doing this for a really long time, that are extremely reputable, they care about you and they care about the transaction. None of us get paid until that transaction actually closes. So if your real estate agent is recommending you to somebody who is local that they trust, you might want to take their advice, because unfortunately a lot of these companies that have great radio ads and great TV ads, all that stuff sounds amazing, but if they're not being recommended for closing on time, for great communication, if they're not well known for closing your loan in 3 to 4 weeks as opposed to 45, 60, or 90 days like some other lenders, if they don't have a reputation for actually showing up to your closing and being there to answer your questions, you might want to run. So one of the next ones is, are they specialized? Is this somebody who does checking accounts, savings accounts, annuities? Maybe they might do home equity loans, car loans, and when they're not doing all that stuff, they can also work with you on a mortgage loan. Or is it somebody who specializes in mortgage lending? That is really important, because guidelines change all the time. And it's really, really hard, even for somebody who specializes in residential mortgage lending, to keep up with all the things that are going on. I couldn't imagine doing all those other products and still being able to keep up with all the guidelines. Doesn't mean they're not great people or nice people or the best person to get a car loan from.
Yeah.
But from a mortgage standpoint, it's really important that you're working with somebody who specializes. The next one is, are they willing to take the time to give you options? Because a lot of times when, especially as a first-time home buyer, Sam, whenever you pick up the phone and you call and say, hey, I want to get pre-approved, first of all, are they going to actually pre-approve you, or are they going to just do a pre-qualification? We got a video on that if you guys want to check it out. But you want somebody who's going to not just expect you to have all the answers and say give you a 30-year fixed rate option, but maybe you want to do a 15-year. I don't generally advise that, but maybe you want to do a 15-year, or maybe you want a comparison and you want to be able to see side by side, what does an FHA loan look like versus what does a conventional loan look like? Are they going to give you A, those options, B, are they going to give you really good illustrations that will compare all of those things side by side? Do you see where that might be important?
Sure.
Are they reliable? And again, I think that kind of goes back to the real estate agent or the person that referred. If your real estate agent is referring, they're not going to refer you generally to somebody who's not reliable, because believe me, if there's a problem that happens in the transaction, that real estate agent's reputation depends on it. And they're not going to risk their reputation referring you to somebody who doesn't do a great job. They've worked really, really hard for their reputation. And when they tell you, hey, Sam, you should use Doug with USA Mortgage, they're literally taking the trust that you have with them and they're transferring that to me. So, I mean, think about that. Like if they tell you to use me, we've already got this built-in rapport, right?
Yeah.
That's a really, really big deal. So based on those 5 things, what do you think is most important to you out of those 5 things?
Yeah, I think probably the reliability, you know, because you want someone who's going to, you know, live up to that reputation. When you ask for a referral from someone you trust, you hope that it's someone that you can trust yourself.
Right, and so that's a really cool answer. And but the great thing about it is, every one of you guys might have a little bit of a different answer. And so my main goal whenever I work with you is to find out what is important to you. It's kind of like this, right? If you were going to go on a road trip, say to Chicago, right? That's about 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
You could drive a Ford Focus, great car, right? Or you could drive some really awesome, cool SUV. Now they'll both get you there.
Yes, they will.
One is just going to feel a little bit different than the other.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a great analogy whenever we work with you guys, that it's important to us to figure out, you know, what is most important to you. And for most people, they want to make sure they close on time, because, you know, when you write an offer to buy a house and you've only got usually 30 days from start to finish to get that loan done, well, if you don't close on time, you've already moved out of your apartment, you've already got moving trucks scheduled, you know, you've got utilities that are being turned on, you got all the stuff. And if you work with somebody who doesn't have a reputation and they haven't proven to be reliable to do that for you, now look, their rate might be an 1/8% or a 1/4% better, but if they don't have a proven reputation for getting it done, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Because you've got a legal contract that says you've got to close by that date.
For sure.
You know, some people, the most important thing to them is communication. They've maybe bought a house in the past, or they've done a refinance in the past, and they never heard from anybody. They couldn't get anybody to return their phone calls. You know, with some of the, you know, again, the 1-800-CHEAP-LOAN no service lenders, you don't ever talk to the same person twice.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really, really nerve-wracking and scary and crazy for people. So, you know, sometimes communication is the best thing in the world. And then, you know, frankly, there's some people out there that all you care about is interest rate. And again, if that's all that matters, there's plenty of lenders out there that you know, have got the world's cheapest rate. Now, they're not going to take your phone calls on nights or weekends. They're definitely not well known for closing on time. They're not known whatsoever for good communication. So the thing about that is, it's very similar to saying you're going on that road trip to Chicago. You could have had the Escalade, but you took the Ford Focus, and you get 2/3 of the way there, and the Ford Focus breaks down, and it wasn't a very enjoyable ride. You can't really complain because you're in the Ford Focus.
Yeah.
You could have had the Escalade, and it's very, very similar. So again, I would say that whenever you're making that comparison, if all that matters is rate, we'll have that discussion in the beginning and let you know that generally, you know, we can't pay processors and underwriters to work nights and weekends. For myself and my team to be available nights and weekends to do all these things, that's generally not going to be the exact same price as, you know, somebody who's only available Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. You may or may not close on time. Now look, a local lender like us that does the things that we do, we're not going to be far out of the park, you know, in terms of that other lender, but there's generally going to be at least a little bit of a price difference. So I would usually advise that before you step into the process, if your lender's not helping you make that decision in terms of, hey, what's most important to you, start thinking about those things. It's not always price, number one. Number two, nobody is always the cheapest every day. The guys you've seen, the stock market, the bond market, they're up and down, they're all over the darn place. So you literally could make a phone call about your loan, you know, today, and 4 hours later, the price could change. So the main thing, our main things, I think, again, are talk to your real estate agent. If you don't trust your real estate agent, find another one. We'd be glad to recommend to you people in our local market that do an amazing job, that are just amazing people. We'd be glad to make that recommendation, because you want to find somebody at the end of the day who cares about you. And you can tell if somebody really means that or not. And if they truly care about you, they'll recommend you to somebody who will also truly care about you. Are they going to be available for you? Are they reputable? Are they specialized? Are they going to give you options? And are they reliable? So that's probably the top 5 things I would say that you need to be looking for when you choose your next lender.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, no problem. So hey guys, if you are thinking that you might be looking to buy in the near future, don't wait until you found the house of your dreams. We're one of few local lenders who actually provides a true pre-approval, meaning that we gather all your income, asset documentation. We pretend you already have an accepted contract and we process your loan just as though you do. We get you a full underwriting approval. I would always highly suggest we start that process before you start looking, because if there's any glitches or bugs or something on credit that we need to help you fix or anything like that, I'd rather get it done ahead of time rather than waiting till you're already under contract. So if we can help you in any way, you can reach out to my team, including most nights and weekends, at 618-795-0790, or you can go to our website at applywithdougshue.com. She will put the link down there. And we hope to talk to you soon.
Have a great day.